Sure does a week go by fast, does it not, Tom?
It does, Rich.
Yeah, it's amazing. It just feels like yesterday you started filling in for Terry while he's out for cataracts. Maybe Terry can see by now. We'll find out tonight when we have our the Players Edge podcast with Maggie Wolfendale. Should be a great show. Starts at 9:30. She's from Fox Sports, 9:30 Eastern. Fox Sports does live NYRA stuff. She's the lady who interviews the jockeys on the horses, and she tells you all about what she sees in the horses in the paddock right before the races go live. She's one of the best at reading the horse's body language, from what I understand and from what I've seen. It should be a great show where we all learn something tonight. Let's see what we've learned about what's in the news today, Tom. Let's start with something fun today. Suffolk Downs is going to the dogs. What do you think about that?
Well, I guess I'm going to look at the positive. They still managed to leave the oval in place. I guess that gives everybody just a little bit of hope that maybe they'll leave the door open to bring back racing in the future. I do think it's neat, a novel concept to, hey, walk on a racetrack and see what it feels like. I know at a local track here, they used to have a 5K run where people would run 3.2 miles on the actual sand racetrack. From what I understand from the story, they're going to do both the turf and the dirt track that's open. A developer has this, but my gut tells me if there's a way they could somehow get slots and more revenue out of it, they might bring back a little boutique card. The horse player in me has always thought an opportunity exists, especially if you get a racetrack that could get a following, is to have residential right in with your racetrack. Wouldn't you just love to have some condominiums along the back stretch of the racetrack so you could go right out your porch and watch that? Trainer Ron Moquette at Oaklawn actually has a house that sits out at about the half-mile pole. And I've seen the stories before where on days when, he doesn't feel well or it's in the morning, he'll go home and get coffee and watch a horse work and go right up to his back fence and be right on the back outside rail of the racetrack.
Sounds like a good idea to me, but I love horse racing. I get horse racing all day, every day. So I think I'm going to get my condominium or house right on either the ocean or on a golf course, but preferably both. So we need a lot more subscribers to make that happen, everybody. So go down to the bottom there, hit subscribe, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, and help us get a condominium. Well, heck it, we'll do it three ways. A condominium that's on a golf course by the ocean, and a horse racing course. What is that? Monmouth and Del Mar are probably our only two choices. Maybe Gulfstream, but I don't think Gulfstream's all that close to the ocean. Yeah, that's where I'm retiring, my friend. That's how I'm going to play it. Not at Suffolk. I want to go somewhere where it's warm. Maybe another way we can get there is through cryptocurrencies. I don't know if you've heard about this before. Our own Frisco Brash brought this up to me the other day, and it's horse racing crypto called Zen Run. Have you heard of this before, Tom?
I have not. I admit I'm a little bit of a rookie in this. I'm a traditional owner. I don't even understand the whole micro shares thing. I don't get the whole concept of, me give $60 to somebody, me be an owner, but I have no say in how it works. And I'm at their liberty to send me a check whenever they deem fit. But yet they take the money, buy horses. They're whining and dining at Del Mar and Saratoga and the sales and all of that. So I really don't understand how this works. I can't really hop in very much.
Well, I think my understanding of how it works is like cryptocurrency kind of intertwined, I guess, or mixed with horse racing. So you buy these NFTs, I guess, which is like a horse, and then your horse is a digital horse, and your digital horse has some value when you buy it. So you use crypto to buy your digital horse, and then you race your digital horse. And you race your horse against other digital horses. And much like real horses, if you happen to buy the Zenyatta or the American Pharaoh, your digital horse is going to become worth a lot more digital value. So I guess in some respects, they're marrying video games and cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and that sort of thing, where the value of your coin is not based upon just the coin itself, but how well your digital horse does. which, in this day and age with the, the electronic sports on, you have, like the electronic sports, which is a really big thing that came up during COVID. And of course, you're crossing that with cryptos, and everybody knows how well the cryptos have done. So maybe I'm going to take a look at it and see what it's all about. I remember sitting at my desk, and I could, I mean, this is one of those things where you can, sometimes you can almost jump off the building, because I put together this thing way back when Bitcoin was like $100, called the Crypto 50, which was a 50. I just made like an index of cryptocurrencies. It was trading at like $100 at the time, and now it's what, like 40,000. If I had just bought like $10,000 worth, I would have my condo on the beach by the golf course. But unfortunately, I ditched that plan when cryptos crashed, and then they came flying back. So I guess I should stick to horse racing.
Yeah, I just don't understand who puts up the purse. Who puts up the purse money for these races, and how all this works? You know what I mean? I don't understand that.
I don't know either. I'll have to look into it, but I would guess that you have to pay a fee to enter your horse into one of these races. So I'll take a look into it. I'll get more in-depth knowledge of it, and then we'll come back and talk about it and let everybody know exactly how it works. If it's something you have an interest in, hit us up in the comments. Tell us about it on Twitter or Facebook. Or you can send me an email at gtsrichb@gmail.com and fill me in on all the details. And of course, we'll be willing to share it. If there's a way for horse players to take our knowledge and bring it to the crypto world and make money from it, I see absolutely no reason why we should consider that, because we're in this business to find winners. And if they're real winners or digital winners, what difference does it make, right? If it adds to your bankroll. Let's take a look at Terry's best bet. As I mentioned, he's out one more day. He should return tonight, he says. I haven't spoken to him yet, so I can't tell you for sure, but I'll find out a little bit later on. Terry's pick of the day is at Saratoga, race 9. What do you think is dropping in class for this race? He's finished 77% of the time in the money in his career, winning a third of his starts. His trainer-jockey combination adds to the many pluses he has to compete in this race. Number 4, Our Last Buck checks many of the boxes, likes the distance, the track, won his last race, and has a good trainer combination and a couple of bullet works. Finally, my boy Tate. Not sure what happened to the last race, Terry says, but he expects a much better race this time around after going very wide last time out. Franco rode him in his last race, so this seems to be a great move. So we'll see if Terry's horse can indeed be the best bet of the day, maybe hit a trifecta. Speaking of trifectas and superfectas, we didn't hit our pick 4 yesterday. We broke the streak, unfortunately, because I unfortunately I didn't mess up the pick 4s in the graphics, which was as I mentioned, unfortunately, an anti-superstitious thing. But if you paid attention afterwards, we got beat in the first leg, unfortunately. But in that second leg, we both had the superfecta. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did.
Are you with me, Tom? Can you hear me, Tom?
Yes, I did.
All right. So, yeah, in that second leg yesterday, you can see here, we both had the 1, the 3, the 6, and the 7. And coming over here, you can see we'll take a look real quick at the results here on Equibase. And you'll see that the race went 7, 3, 1, and 6. The exacta 7-3 paid $13.40, so not the best exacta. The trifecta paid for 50 cents, $62. I'll take turning 50 cents into $62 any day of the week. But the most important one is that 10-cent superfecta 7316, $65.25. In other words, if you had put $2 on that superfecta, again, here were the picks, it would have paid you $1,300. So just because we lost the first leg of the pick 4, not all was lost, and I would suggest that you continue to pay attention to our picks afterwards, because hitting a winner 4 races in a row can be difficult, despite the fact that we made it look pretty easy for the last 6 days. You ready with your Del Mar picks for today, Tom?
I am. I can't say I am. I couldn't find the Hawaiian shirt this morning, so I wore the dry fit Day Glow neon yellow and got as close as I could.
Yeah, it looks good. I like it. I like the t-shirts better than the Hawaiians anyway. They're more comfortable. But maybe I don't know. I've never really worn a Hawaiian, so I can't tell you for sure if that's how it would play out for me in terms of the response that I would get. Let's look at Del Mar. Why don't you kick us going? We both have $18 tickets, and the interesting thing I saw, and Tom doesn't. He does share his picks with me, but I don't look at them until I'm putting them in the Excel sheet so we can create these graphics. And I noticed that we have a few similar picks, but there's no way we can both win. At least on the hot dog pick 4.
If we both had the 4 in the first leg, the 9 in the second leg, 7 in the third, and the 8 in the fourth, we'd both be winners, buddy.
Oh, yes, I did see that. I missed that. That dyslexia still kicks in at 55. So, yeah, we can hit it. Right. So that's a positive. So tell me about your horses.
First leg, I went too deep. I did the 4 Madame Barbarian, a class drop from 22,500 to 10,000. She did finish third on turf and has a win in 2/3 this year. So I expect her to continue her efforts. And then the 9 Colima, 3 seconds in a row. Think this could be the day that she does kick through and take it to the next level. In the second leg, I went 3 deep. The number 3 Cecil's Chapter. It's a class drop from claiming 50,000. Ran second 2 straight times at Churchill. It is in that Mike Maker barn, which, as I mentioned yesterday, hot on both coasts, getting a lot of prices. And it's a Mike Maker horse that beat us yesterday in the first leg. Number 4 is Plum Sex. What?
I said that damn Mike Maker.
That number 4, Plum Sexy, is racing a grade 2 race last out and was eased. That was on dirt. Has never ran less than claiming for 100,000. So we'll relish the class drop today. And then the 9 American Bourbon, 2 wins and 1 second in the last 3 at Golden Gate. I know Del Mar is a much higher class racetrack than Golden Gate, but the horse does have a bullet work coming into this race. So I added that on the hot dog pick 4. Moving to the 7th race, I went 3 deep. The 3 Lady Mystify, won by 18 lengths last out. I don't care what class you're at. You dominate a field like that, it makes me look at you coming back. Number 6, She's a Dime, is a speed horse, has been on the board 8 straight races. And number 7, Ginja, win its last out after 3 consecutive second place finishes. So I went with 3 horses that have been right there in the last race, hoping that consistency continues. In the 8th race, the nightcap, I went 2 deep. Number 7, Starship Sky. Came out of a key race and ran second last out to the 8 horse, which I also included. The 8 is Brittle and You. It's the first off a claim, and it's got the best turf rider on the grounds riding the horse. And I love a play where 2 horses ran together in the last race, and when they ran first and second, I really like to wheel that situation going forward.
All right. For me, in race number 5, I started out with the 4 horse like you, Madame Barbarian. Last race speed figure was above par for this level. I expect improvement in the second start off a layoff, and the work suggests that I'll be right about that. Island Life. I'm not really a huge fan of the 5. The 5's angle from Golden Gate all-weather track to Del Mar, but did put in a really strong workout at Del Mar. So that suggests to me that likes the track, and you got Jessica Pfeiffer in the irons with a speed horse. Should be the pace setter. She's a really aggressive rider. She can get out to the front and probably stay out in the front. And race number 6, this was one that was kind of pretty deep for me. I think the hardest one of all the handicap, but I went with number 3, Cecil's Chapter. Should have plenty of speed in this race. It's a mile on the turf, which favors closers. And there's a ton of speed in this race. So I think Cecil's Chapter will have a lot of speed to chase and should be able to close and maybe get to the line first. American Bourbon had the top last race speed figure. It's going to be near the front. And like I said, speed may not necessarily work there. But I trust Jonathan Wong is a really good trainer, dropping his horse off of a win, which is a 30% angle for the trainer. Number 7, Feathers. Yeah, well, I went 3. Number 7, Feathers. I don't know what I'm just writing him. This is the order actually I ranked him in. So Feathers has a lot of good angles for trainer Peter Miller. Third off a layoff, second route race, turf to dirt, all of which are around 20% hit rates. That's race number 6 for me. Race number 7, I think this is really a 2. It probably could be a 2-horse race, but I added a third one in there. Lady Mystify, like you said, won the last by 18. Anytime a horse wins by 18 lengths, you got to take a look at that horse. And then, to kind of verify that effort, I looked at the workouts and 2 bullet workouts since. So I was very close. I don't know about you, Tom, but I was very close to singling the 3 in this spot. And then between the 1 and the 7, I don't really have much of a difference between the 1 and the 7, between Lady Peridot and Ginger. You can take your own pick, but the thing that interests me about the 7 is Abel Cedillo rode the 7 and the 1 and the 6 recently and decided to stay on the 7, which I think I might put the 7 in the second spot here. And then to close out the final race in race number 8, I think, again, the 2-horse field, I think, at least in terms of my opinion, stand out above the rest. Number 8, Battle and You, had the top last race speed figure, and Ronald Ellis is going to claim that horse, wins 25% after a claim. And in our Players Edge podcast, with all the trainers that we spoke to, and Tom, you can speak to this, you've been around horses a long time, but every trainer we've talked to said that when they claim a horse, they have a specific race in mind. I got to guess that Ron Ellis had this race in mind. And then finally, last time out, Mulligan stumbled the 3-horse at the start. And then I think that affected its race, lowered its performance numbers. And if you skip back to its races before the break, its speed numbers are by far the best in this field. If it just reverts to its normal form, I think Mulligan can make easy work of this field. So that wraps up our hot dog pick 4s. I think we should go ahead and I think with this hot dog pick 4s, we should trademark that. What do you think, Tom?
I think so.
Let's move on to the prime rib, where we're spending Terry Hollywood Hay type money. What do you like here? Who did you add?
I added the 7, Kirsch Truffle. I like the turn back theory. Anytime a horse goes around 2 turns and is near the front and it turns back to 1 turn, I love that theory. Gives the horse stamina and a late kick at the end of a race. It showed speed at 2 turns the last 2 races and good last work. It was 4th of 59. And it's an active work tap, not sporadic, not missed days. So that shows a healthy horse. In the 6th leg, I added the 5, Frazzle. I like that it's a Mandela trainee. I went for the lone speed angle, and it just got caught 9 furlongs in the last race, so it'll relish the cutback in distance. I made no changes to the 7th race. And then the 8th race, I'll be up front with you. I basically knew I had an amount of money left. I looked at who I didn't like, not who I liked when I looked at who I was adding. Obviously, I had the 7 and the 8. I did add the 9, Nanny Queen, horses 2 for 4 on the board at the distance. But it came down to whether I liked the 5 and the 6 versus whether I liked the 1, 2, and the 3. And that's the way that I went with it. So
yeah, I got to be honest. I did kind of the same thing in that last leg because it seemed like the most open leg to me. And I was even thinking about maybe cutting back on a few to put more horses in that last leg because I really feel like that you can, if the 3 or the 8 don't win, I think just about any other horse behind it can win, in my opinion. So in the opening leg, race number 5, I added the 6 horse. Horse is dropping in class, and its last race speed figure was over par. It should be one of the horses that's hustling the hardest late. So, again, I don't know that necessarily coming on late is going to be the key there because that's a shorter race, 6 furlongs. Speed should be the way to get to the winner's circle there. I added the 2 in race number 6. Again, I mentioned that it's a 1 mile on the turf, has favored closers. Chasing Serendipity. Great name. I like that one. It's another one that's Jonathan Wong horse that's dropping off a win. Again, that's a 30% angle and has some of the best late pace numbers in the field. I left a race number 7 unchecked, exactly the same as I had. I think those are the 3 best horses in the race. And then in the final race, I added the 5 and the 8. I mean, the 5, the 7, and the 10. And quite frankly, I'm hoping that one of them is a price and hits. And I kind of did the same thing you did. I took the horses that I liked more than the other horses. The 10 horse is a horse that's ran some of the best last race speed figures, has 1 win in its one win in 2 races at Del Mar, hasn't won really anywhere else. Number 5, Warren's Memorable, should be coming as fast as any horse down the stretch. So in number 7, I felt was the best of the rest. So that's kind of how I put them together too. So let's quickly recap the hot dog pick 4 and the prime rib. So the hot dog, Tom, when race 5 went 2 deep with the 4 and the 9. Race 5, 3 deep, 3, 4, 9. Race 7, 3, 6, 7 as you went 3 deep. Race 8 closed it off with a pair, 7 and 8. My ticket's exactly the same, 2 on top of 3 on top of 3 at 2. The numbers are a little different. 4, 5, 3, 7, 9, 1, 3, 7, 3, 8. And then once again, it's just a quick shot here at the prime rib pick 4s. Again, if somewhere along the line we miss a race, which can happen, it's horse racing. It happens sometimes, 3 out of every 7 days for us. But take a look at the picks in here internally. They make good for exactas, trifectas, and like I mentioned, you might find a nice $1,300 superfecta in there like we did yesterday. And Tom, that wraps up our pick 4s for the week. Did you enjoy doing that?
I did. What I really like today versus kind of some of the other programs I've been participating in is the fact that we got to the last leg and kind of looked at ticket construction. Could I have went shorter in leg 2 to go deeper in leg 4? Maybe it's because it's Del Mar. Maybe it's just kind of, we most of the time stay east of the Mississippi, Indiana, on the early days, Saratoga. This is Del Mar. I see Jonathan Young's name a lot. I didn't know exactly what he made of him, because that whole Golden Gate to Del Mar angle, he does that a lot. I don't get comfortable with that. Sorry for the nonverbals, but I just don't get comfortable with that whole Golden Gate to Del Mar angle. He seems successful, though. So, my answer is I'll throw in and try to go deep in that race, where maybe in other races you try in the prime rib to, not to do that. We both could have singled that horse in the feature yesterday at Saratoga. I know it was against Terry's best bet of the day, but that horse just aired and won for fun. Then you start to think, wait a minute. Instead of using 3 spots in that race, when I thought it was a single, I got to have more confidence to do a single. That internal analysis and sometimes talking it over with your buddies is how you become a better handicapper. And
for sure,
I've had a lot of my success in pick 4s actually pairing up with somebody. I'm going to go make my ticket. You make your ticket. If we have the same number, we use it. We figure out how much we're going to spend, whether we throw in $25 a piece is usually what we did. And you come down to the last 3 horses in 3 different races, and you have some pretty energetic debates, but you'll find you do a lot better because you get another perspective.
That's how they make decisions at a lot of hedge funds. People throw out ideas and then they battle it out around a conference table, and then they settle on the one that they all agree with. Well, let's see if we all agree with our other Tom here. Let's bring in Divots Flying. I guess Tom must have hit the links today, Tom. Is that what happened there?
No, it's more of a play on how how Goodwood was playing today. And it was windy and the divots were up. The track is drying out. But it's still not going to be good to firm. I think for the next 2 days, it's just going to be in that weird good to soft, or in spots, or certain areas of the track will be better than others. Again, we have to watch the races and see how they track out. But for the most part, they've been at the farther rail, not so much on the stand side.
I thought you were talking about my golf game, because the divots tend to fly farther than the ball.
Yeah, that was the way my game used to be too. Fortunately, I play this game now and I skipped the other one.
Yeah, similar results, unfortunately. Anyway, let's get cracking, because we got a lot of races to cover. I think we have 3 today and then 1 for Saturday. So because Tom won't be here tomorrow. He's doing what I haven't done in years, going on vacation. Lucky dog. And then, so we won't have a show tomorrow. We'll be back tonight, though, as I mentioned before, with Maggie Wolfendale from Fox Sports and NYRA, 9:30 Eastern time. You can catch us live on Facebook. So head on over to Racing Radar at Facebook. Like us. When we go live, you'll be dinged. Subscribe to us here on YouTube by hitting the subscribe button. Get the bell. It's going to be a great show. Or you can head on over to Twitter and follow us at Twitter. And our own Sean will be socializing right before we go live. So let's go live out to, well, kind of not live, but at least in terms of our picks, out to Goodwood tomorrow for the Bonhams Thoroughbred Stakes. Is that where we're starting, Tom?
Yeah, that's where we're starting.
Divots flying, Tom. All right.
For us, it's the second race, but it's a nice
225
3-mile race for 3-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
So I took number 1, which is kind of not a big stretch because it's going to be the big favorite. That's Baid. He's got draw 2, undefeated in 3 starts, all at 1 mile. He's winning by 4, 7.5, and 1 1/4 lengths. The last race was the more interesting one, in my opinion, at Newmarket because it was a listed race. He dwelt at the start. He was in the back of the field. When he's asked to go, he did, and Jim Crowley eased him at the finish. Yeah,
made it look easy.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I don't know if there's anybody in here that can really beat him at this point. Maybe the track will play a role. We'll see. But so far, 3 for 3 is not bad. At number 7, Tasman Bay has draw 8. I took him for my second choice. He faced Group 2 company last out at Royal Ascot and finished second. It was a nice race. Today, of course, he drops in level, and he also drops to a little shorter race. He's only won on all weather, so that's my one concern with him. Mm-hmm. But I'm also looking for some prices here, and I think he's going to offer some great value. If he can run back to that race at Royal Ascot, he's going to be someplace in this money.
Mm-hmm. It looks like he's right now preliminary 11-1.
Yeah. And then I took the longest shot on the board, number 8, Pasanova, has draw 6. 50-1 probably makes sense, and I'm probably crazy. Best odds has her at 50-1. Has him at 50-1. Let's see what Coral has.
Here on the screen, they showed at
33-1. So, it's going to be a big price. Won both on the all-weather and the turf. It's stepping up from lower levels. It's kind of running the same types of races that the favorite did, but not quite. The extra distance, it doesn't bother me at all because I went back and looked at the dam, and her other runner won at 1.5 miles. So it may even want more distance than the mile. I also like the switch to Holly Doyle. I think that's a nice move. And she may fit this horse very nicely and see if we get a win. The other advantage, of course, this horse has over the rest of the field is that it gets a weight off, and that can be a determinant.
Mm-hmm. All right, iCarly, Tom, what about you? Do you see anything in here you like?
Taking a stand against the chalk. I'm going ice cold exacta 3-7. The 3 Khartoum out of Galileo 8 O'Brien combination, ran second in the Dubai duty free celebration. 3 starts at a distance with a win in 2 seconds, and then the 7 Tasman Bay, 3 on the board on the turf, 3 of 3 on the board on the turf, and shortens up today.
Yeah, well, that's your ice cold Goodwood exacta for you. I like Tom. I couldn't rule out the favorite Baid as the winner. I mean, the horse has just looked he's just been untouchable in the first 3 races against what he's raced. I do agree. Tasman Bay is my second choice. Like you, Tom, I think you're starting to wear off on me a little bit. He's dropping from Poor guy, right?
Yeah, my
grade
sympathies.
2. He's going from a grade 2 but down to a grade 3. Just missed by 1.5 lengths last time out at the Royal Ascot. The horse that he lost to came back and finished 3rd to my favorite horse, Hurricane Lane, in that just real strong performance in France. I do like the number 4 horse, Parato, as my 3rd pick. It's a horse for the course. Has run around the course 3 times. Has had 2 wins and in a second. I put a lot of emphasis on horses that run very well at courses. And number 5, Rhythm Maker, is my 4th pick. It's a horse that looked okay in its first start off a layoff, and I expect that you're going to see more in the second start off a layoff. Now we're going to go visit King George. The King George Qatar Stakes. I mean, that's that goes together pretty well. It's like, is the King George Q, like what letter in Q is in the Roman numbers? I have no idea. It's up there somewhere. But anyway, Tom, who do you like here? You're going to go with another heavy favorite like me?
No.
No, you're gonna skip the favorite here. Huh?
Well, this is probably my favorite race of this 5 days at Goodwood. 5 furlongs. We've got the former champion, who I'm going to take a stand against because I really didn't like his last race at Royal Ascot. And this is a Group 2 bunch that really is a bunch of Group 1s.
Mm-hmm.
So my top choice is number 9, Glass Slippers, draw 5. She's gonna be in that 9-1 range, I think, when it gets down to it. Won the Breeders' Cup Sprint by a half a length, cut inside, made a nice move inside, and really they didn't have a chance when she got going. She's run against top company all the time.
Finished second here last year. Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's top notch. The only thing is she doesn't have a race yet, but that's not unusual for her. If they feel she's ready, they're putting her in, and I think I do believe they're targeting the Breeders' Cup again, because I think that race makes sense, and the distance at Del Mar will be a good distance for her, and she likes the better going. For the most part. So it'll be interesting to see how she does here. She did race against Batash, and he finished 5th. It was a bit of a disappointing race, but it shows you the quality that she was running against last year. And, let's look at her record. I mean, she's got 17 runs, 7 wins, and 5 of those are in stakes company. So she's not going to be, she's going to be somewhere in here. And I really believe she can run a good race. And again, odds. I like the numbers. Number 11, Dragon Symbol, is really a hard one to pass on with draw 11. He's got 3 wins and 3 seconds against the best. He gets weight because he's a 3-year-old. He tried to catch Starman last out at 6, and nobody's touching Starman at 6. And not on a firm course, or good to firm. They're going to drop him to 5. It may be a problem. I don't know, but he seems to want to run forward. So he may sit just off the leader or right in that pocket type of area. I don't think he'll have cover. I think they'll keep him as clean a run as they can possibly get. And they're going to certainly take a big shot here. Being a 3-year-old, going to get some weight off, which is definitely an advantage at this time of year. And then I took a long shot, who I've liked before, and he's finished 3rd against some of this group, and one of these days he's going to punch through, and that's number 2, Art Power, who's draw 1. Don't like the draw, but I think he's got a chance to get in somewhere in here. And if he can get the far rail trip with some cover, I think he'll have a chance to be able to get into the money here.
All right, Carly, Tom, you going to go ice cold here again, or you're going to go from an exacta, ice cold exacta to ice cold trifecta, or are you just going to try a swinger?
I'm just going to try Try it traditional. I'm going to go 2 Art Power, 2 or 3 at the distance. Has been running longer, should like the cutback in distance, and has kept Group 1 company. Number 11, Dragon Symbol, winner place in all 7 races. Once again, kept that Group 1 or 2 company. And then the favorite, Batash, said enough about him. I won't go any more detail.
Well, I think Batash is going to be your winner. He's the defending champ. Back to the glorious Goodwood, where he's run 4 times, and guess what? Won them all. I agree with Tom on Glass Slipper. The horse is a 5-year-old debut. Should come out bigger, stronger. But sometimes those 5-year-old mares, Tom, you said that's kind of the break year. Sometimes they want to run, and sometimes they don't. So we'll find out where her head is at when the gates open. I like Dragon Symbol. My concern is that 5 furlongs might not be long enough for this horse. So that's my biggest concern about it. But if 5 furlongs works for Dragon Symbol, could make easy work of this field. And then I'm going to go with the number 1, Arecibo. If you just look at the times for 5 furlongs, this horse's times are as fast as any other horses in this field. And if it can run to its potential, maybe can upset the field at 12-1. So that's one of the angles I like to look at. I love to look at what horses actually run at the distance. It's like I equate everything to humans and animals and stuff, but I had good friends who were great 100-yard sprinters. In fact, one of my good friends, Robert Searles, at one time in high school, I think he had the state record for a 200-yard run, whatever it is, 220, whatever it is on the track. But then when he would stretch out to like 440, so one time around the track, wasn't as fast. So some horses have a preferred distance. People have a preferred distance. I think that Arecibo's preferred distance is 5 furlongs. So we're going to wrap up our Friday racing at Goodwood with I don't even know what that is, Laura Marin's Queen's Plate Glorious Stakes. Tom, our divot's flying, Tom. Who's going to be the glorious queen of the Queen Glorious Stakes?
My top choice is Urshan Glenn. He has draw 5. It's an 8-year-old veteran. He has 38 races. He's running Group 1 company down to handicaps. He's actually gotten a little better as he's gotten older. His shortest distance that he runs is 1 mile, and he stretches out to distances of 2 miles plus, so 2.25, 2.5 miles. So he can do the marathons, or he can run a little shorter. He's done pretty nicely for himself. He's won at Sandown and Illicit. Last out looked pretty good, and he also picked up a Group 3 race at Sandown. Yes, he does like Sandown. But I think he's got a nice chance here, and I think he's also very versatile. I mean, he's won on good to firm all the way down to heavy. So he's whatever the track comes up as that should never be an issue with him. The interesting thing is he's never won on the all weather. They've tried 3 times and gave it up. So
it doesn't work. I mean, if it's broke, don't try to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, my feeling is if the big favorite doesn't show up in this race, he's got a great chance. And that number is my second choice. That's number 5, Mogul. Has draw 1. He looks like the best horse on paper here, but his form is not the best. And I mean, his last one was in Hong Kong in December in a mile race there. He raced in the Breeders' Cup. He's been in the France, but he's not done a lot lately. And, I kind of equate him like with Order of Australia, who they put in a kind of a middle end 7 furlong race in Ireland, and then they put him in at Goodwood, and he did absolutely nothing. And that's what I think they were with that with Mogul. I think this could be the retirement race for him if he doesn't do anything, because at some point he's either lost interest or he's just not running. Certainly not running to his past form. Got to put him in there.
The barn, man. You can't blame him for that.
No, you can't. And he's been a very good horse. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he's run some great races, but not this year. And I took a number 9 Without a Fight, who has draw 7. Okay listed race at Ascot in May. Then they gave him a break, and they raced him in April. He ran second. The trainer over the past 14 days has 29 runners. 7 of them have won at 24%. He just, I think he's got a fresh horse, and he's trying to spot him in there to get some money. And this looks like a nice spot to pick up a check.
All right, Carly. So are we going to go traditional? Are we going to go ice cold? Where are we coming in? You're the unpredictable one in the crew here.
Exacta part wheel. The 5 mogul, huge class drop today, 1-for-1 at Goodwood. I believe O'Brien runs these horses where they can win, especially late in their career, over the 6-8. 6 is out box, likes the distance, been hitting the board versus easier horses. I think it's step up with the bright lights at Goodwood on him. He'll do well. And then 8, Passion and Glory on the board, 6 of 9 in career. That horse just hits the board today. Well, got to hit the first or second spot because I'm not playing a swinger key or part wheel. I'm playing exacta, but that's my.
You could
thoughts.
swing it too, baby. I mean, I like the swinger idea. Anyway, parimutuel gods, yes, indeed, we are the parimutuel gods, J. Marco. We're going to make, we're going to take over England, baby. Once again, another conqueror. We're going to conquer them this time in horse racing. For me, I'm looking at Passion and Glory. You mentioned in our Delmar picks, the horse that won by 18 lengths always catches your eye, Carly, Tom. And here, this horse has just won 2 big races in a row. Looks like it's in top form. And that's, you can't overlook horses that are in top form. And I'm sure all those jockeys and trainers and stuff that listen agree. I like the Uchtton Glendo. I'm a little bit spotty on that horse with you, Tom, because it's an all or nothing horse. And it seems to alternate between all or nothing. And last time was the all. So maybe this is going to be a nothing race, but you can't bank on it not providing one of those top-notch efforts under the bright lights, as iCarly put it. And then I like Outbox too, because Holly Doyle, if you look back at the past performances, seems like she gets the best out of this horse. She's back on it today. So I expect you're going to see Outbox respond very well to the Holly Doyle being in the irons. So put Outbox in there in your exactas, trifectas, and swingers, baby. And I like Pablo Escobar. I mean, Pablo is a notorious figure off the racetrack, so why not be a notorious figure on the racetrack? But it is a horse for the course at Goodwood. Ran there 3 times, has 2 wins and a second. So I'm big on, like I said, track form, and he definitely has some of the best track form. I agree with you, Jay. We're always on point. You're more than worthy, my friend. More than worthy. Let's see. Now we're going to wrap up our glorious Goodwood racing on Saturday. So we're going to skip a day. We're 2 days in advance here. So that's because Tom's going on a much-deserved vacation. He sent me an email earlier on in the day and said, my Lord God, the horses are scratching out of this race because nobody wants a piece of Eric Clapton. You look wonderful tonight.
It doesn't appear that way. She's staying in the same level of a Group 2, but she's now going to face her fillies and mares. And she scratched out of last weekend's race because of the surface. She does not like good to firm. She wants some give in the ground, and they're certainly getting that at Goodwood. And she beats the next out winner, Broome, in her last race at the Royal Ascot. She's won her last 3. She's faced really top-notch company. I'd like the drop back into against fillies and mares. Their eye is on one thing, and that's getting her into the arc. And this is a good second step. She certainly proved herself in the first one. I think she can do it again, and she just loves that surface. Yes, she's a big favorite, but what do you got? That's what they're giving me.
Well, you got to play the cards you're dealt, right? Whether it's 7-2 or pocket aces.
Yeah, that would be helpful too, but we'll see. Number 3, Believe in Love, has draw 2. Last out of Leopardstown, it won a Group 3. Raced near the rear. They took it a little wide, and it was just a nice move at 2 furlongs left to go. Nice sweeping move, and she just ran her probably maybe her best race ever. I really think she can continue on that path. I don't think she's as good as the top horse, but I think she can get something here. My final one is number 8, Tribal Craft, who draw 7. Started the season with a second, then went to Haydock with a win, and then finished 5th in a Group 2, and she's just been all over the place. She's beaten my second choice. I just think she's got enough to get something, and she's proven that she can do it. Now the question is, can she finish in front of the rest of these horses? One horse is wheeling back very quickly, so we'll see what that horse does. I just think that this horse is right there in the right spot and should get a piece.
All right, I love Carly, Tom. This is your last pick for the week. You got to go out a winner, my friend. What do you got?
Number 3, Believe in Love. Taking a stand against the overwhelming favorites. 3 for 3 at the distance. I like that. I like that. I'm looking for an upset. I don't want to take a horse that's 8-11. Want to stand my ground and play that. And then I look at number 9, Divine Light. I know this horse has only won 1 out of 9, but it's in good form. It's kept Group 1 and 2 company, so I'll play that horse underneath the 3, and I'll throw in the 1 as well.
Question for you guys. We're all about in the same age group, unfortunately, getting up there in age, much closer to Social Security than we are to our high school proms, unfortunately. But was wonderful tonight, like the last song of all your dances in prom, like it was for me growing up in the 80s, or no? Is it no? All right.
No,
well, I dated the 70s.
Usually Last Dance
that
by
song
Donna
wasn't
Summer.
out yet.
Last Dance by Donna Summer. All right. And what were you, Tom? You were like
I said I'm from the 70s, so that song wasn't out yet.
So what was the song back then? Who were the stars? Like still like Elvis Presley or
no?
Chuck Berry?
I was more of a Led Zeppelin, Beatles kind of guy.
Well, that's you can't beat that, man. That stuff is still dominating the radio today. That tells you how much better it is than most of the stuff. Yes, indeed, we are cavemen. I auditioned for a Geico commercial. That's how much of a caveman I am, and my wife agrees with you too. Neanderthal caveman. There's no question about it. But all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the picks. Yeah, well. If I take my hat off, it'll go like that. But anyway, wonderful tonight. I think it makes easy work of this field. Was the wheel even invented yet when we were born? Probably not. I think we were still working on fire at that time. Believe in Love is my second pick. 3 for 3 at the track. At the distance, 1 for 1 at the track. I like Golden Pass. If you look at that horse, has run 7 times. 5 of them are what I deem high quality starts. And then finally, I like number 6. That's my last pick of the week. Makawi. That's 20-1, 2 for 3 at the distance, and has run over the Goodwood track 2 times with a win and a second. So likes the distance, likes the track. And I got a feeling sometimes in these races, when you get a heavy favorite, it seems to me like the co-favorites try to run the favorite's race instead of running their race. Yeah. And in doing so, that opens up the door for some long shots. And that's why I went after Wonderful Tonight and Believe in Love. I put some long shots in there because I expect a lot of other horses might try to run races that aren't their type of race. All right, Tom, Tom, why don't you give us a little 2-second recap of what your week was like here at Horse Racing Radar for our Horse Racing Today show?
It was a very versatile handicapping. Not only did I look at races in Europe, traditionally I don't really look at races in Indiana much. So you had kind of cheaper horses on Tuesday, good horses with Phil Fields on Wednesday at Saratoga. Today we kind of looked at a little bit shorter fields, but interesting stories in the Del Mar item. So, I go through these exercises. I don't like to hone in on one track when I handicap. Some people do. They think, oh, I get to know the trainer, I get to know the jockey, I know the track, I know the bias, and it makes me a better handicapper. The problem with that is you get a day where you pick that track and a monsoon comes in, or they cancel the races or whatever. What are you going to do with your OTB when you're sitting there with your buddies? They've all got their forms out looking for things to do, and you're like, it's in a language I don't understand. I've never looked at this before. I don't know who Jonathan Wong is. I don't know who this is, which is why one of the questions I'll be asking Maggie Wolfendale tonight, right out of the box, tell me what the bias has been playing at Saratoga. I can't figure it out. She is obviously much more experienced. She's on the racetrack in the morning galloping horses. Her husband's a trainer. That kind of insight is invaluable when you are a handicapper, especially at a racetrack as competitive as Saratoga. Like I said when the meet started, you hit an exacta or a try at Saratoga 3 times a day, you're going to win money. Del Mar, you got to be more in that 50% range.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned tonight, our Terry Hay says he's going to be there tonight. Hopefully, Terry, you have better vision than you did on your pick, as you mentioned here. I'm glad you guys didn't take my pick of the day yesterday. It didn't do very well. Sometimes he tries to beat the horse I think will be the best in the race to get value. Well, hopefully tonight you'll have some valuable picks for us with our guest. As Tom mentioned, we'll have on Maggie Wolfendale, who is the track announcer, paddock announcer at Saratoga, Fox Sports. You can check out a great Q&A with her over at horseracingradar.com. Tom and I will be back tonight. Tom, I got the wrong window here. Divots Tom will be back with us tonight at 9:30. Again, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, hit us up on YouTube by subscribing and hit the bell. And whenever the shows start, 9:30 Eastern, you'll be notified right away. It's going to be a great show tonight. Don't miss it. Tell your friends about it if they're into horse racing. I suspect we're all going to learn something new. And I think you'll agree with me, Divots Flying Tom. In the time that we've been doing this, we've picked up something useful on almost every show.
I would agree. 100%. Because there's always some other perspective when people look at races and look at little things that we don't necessarily pick up on when we're looking at the races or specific tracks.
And then sometimes just the insights we get from jockeys too are very, very unbelievable things that I never even thought of thinking about. But
one of the big things for me was with Mike Smith.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting to how he prepares and what he does with the horse once he's on the track before getting into that gate.
I forget who it was. One of the interesting things that I've learned, and it seems to have worked out because I've paid attention to this, is that when we had on Jose Ortiz, Jose told us that in the pre-race, when we asked him, how do you know, when you watch a baseball game, for example, and a pitcher throws a no-hitter, the pitcher always says, I knew I had good stuff when I was warming up. So I asked Jose, how do you know you have good stuff when you're warming up with your horse? And he told us, when I can take my horse away from, I don't know, what do they call the horse that goes out with it? Like the
lead pony.
The lead pony, when it goes out with the lead pony. If I could take my horse away from the lead pony and work it off on the side, that's a sign that my horse is ready to go. It's calm and ready to go. And I've kind of paid attention to this. And sometimes you see some long shots that are off to the side working out. Anecdotally, I haven't tracked this stuff, but anecdotally, those horses have finished in the money, which is interesting tip that I learned from Jose that I would have never, ever, ever picked up on my own. No question about it. So hopefully we'll pick up some of that sort of information tonight. As I mentioned, Tom and I will not be back tomorrow. Tom's going on vacation. I'm taking what I think is a well-deserved day off. And then we'll see you tonight, folks, with our picks for Saratoga at Jim Dandy with Maggie Wolfendale. Until next Monday, Tom, iCarly, thank you for filling in. We'll see you all next Monday, same time. Until then, good luck at the races.